We've all experienced terrible things that we've been required to do, all the while wishing that we had the clout to turn around and say, sorry, I can't hear you over the sound of all this nope. Not everyone gets the pure luxury of being able to stick middle fingers up at their bosses and say, actually, maybe cleaning the toilets is your forte, but the problem with creating superstars is that occasionally they get to act like it. I'm Adam from WhatCulture.com, and here are 10 wrestlers who managed to get themselves out of terrible ideas. Number 10, Dan Severn. Dan Severin? Dan Severn. WWE don't know how to pronounce it, and neither do I. The idea, getting a 666 tattoo on his face. Nothing says reliable job prospect like a face tattoo. Hands up if you remember Dan the Beast Severin. He's basically what would happen if you took the 3 men and a baby poster, got rid of 2 of the men, replaced the baby with titles for kicking people dead, and then had him sitting on top of a lot of people he'd murdered with his legs. A hard bastard with a tash, basically. Big old Danny boy had enough of the MMA legitimacy that WWE still craves the likes of Lesnar today, so when creative pitched to him the idea of joining the Ministry of Darkness and coming out with a 666 on his forehead, living in a small conservative town, Severn refused, which caused a great deal of tension between him and head office. He would leave the company shortly after. Number 9, Mankind, Stone Cold, and Scott Hall. The idea, terrible gimmicks. Wrestling is all about character. Simply put, if a wrestler walks out there with a stupid costume or a stupid name or a stupid gimmick, then heel heat or face fire doesn't factor into the equation. There's no engagement, which is a sobering thought considering how close 3 of the most iconic characters that WWE have ever created almost didn't happen. Mankind was almost packaged as Mason the Mutilator. No, no, no. Razor Ramon was almost a bland soldier boy G.I. Joe. No, please. And Stone Cold, precious Stone Cold Steve Austin, when he approached creative for a change in name, something to reflect this Iceman demeanor he was going to cultivate, they offered him the potential names of Ice Dagger, Chili McFreeze, Otto Von Ruthless, and Fang McFrost. Thankfully, each star was able to parlay their potential value to the company and pitch the personas that would make them famous. Number 8, The Undertaker. The idea, wrestling Braun Strowman. Now, TBF, that idea doesn't seem all that dreadful now, does it? However, when the idea was pitched to Billy Boo Bollocks in early 2016, that Strowman was being considered as his WrestleMania opponent, Undertaker's response was, and I'm paraphrasing here, bitch, please. Though reported by the Wrestling Observer, the reasons for Undertaker's refusal were never made clear, though it possibly had something to do with Strowman being as green and as popular as Turtle. Little would any of us know that by SummerSlam 2017, Strowman would be the single greatest asset to Monday Night Raw. Still, Undertaker doesn't do anything Undertaker doesn't want to do, and it was a hard pass. Number 7, John Cena. The idea, not cutting promos on The Rock. As much as twice in the lifetime may have permanently sullied the legacy of the Rock-Cena feud, try not to forget that the original angle culminating at WrestleMania 28 was bloody great. 2 of the greatest of all time throwing surprisingly personal barbs at each other, each man laying waste to the other's credibility with actual cattiness. Very entertaining stuff, which makes it all the weirder that originally WWE pitched a program to Cena that he was going to rise above all of The Rock's insults and not respond. The Rock was going to cut promo after promo on him, and Cena was going to take it in his stride, be the babyface, and not fire shots back. Well, that is bullshit, and credit to Big Match John, he thought so too, using his very considerable sway to change the plans and let him throw shade at the people's champ. Number 6, Daivari. The idea, becoming George W. Bush. Right, hang on, I'm just going to check that I've written that down. No, that's correct. Fucking madness, this. So in 2005, Daivari was the henchman of Muhammad Hassan, the very much Italian Arab-American, complaining about the stigmatization of his people the way only true heels do. Hassan was dropped from the company after terroristy segments coincided with an actual terror attack, leaving Daivari rudderless. The idea pitched to him by creative, he would legally change his name to that of then-President George W. Bush and come out as an overzealous American patriot whose jingoism, when combined with looking foreign, would be a surefire heat magnet. Daivari, despite his lack of pull backstage, said, that's stupid, and also it was likely to have a short shelf life. Creative ultimately backed down. Number 5, Brian Pillman. The idea, being crushed by Hogan. Over to WCW now, in early 1996. Brian Pillman had just put the finishing touches to a radical new persona, loose cannon Brian Pillman. Basically, the gimmick was unstable f***ing weirdo, but what made it so unique is that no one apart from him and Eric Bischoff knew it was a work. Everyone assumed that Pillman had just gone crazy. Point was, it was the hot gimmick at the time, like Broken Matt, but more actually disturbing. Everyone was talking about it, even WCW lead star Hulk Hogan, who wanted to work with the attention-attracting Pillman. However, the loose cannon wanted zero part of that, opting instead to leave WCW as part of a work-shoot firing angle that, again, very few people, including Hogan, were clued in on. This allowed him the ability to leverage himself to ECW, WCW, and WWE, all while avoiding having his momentum crushed by the dead-end prospect of eating a leg drop from Hulk Hogan. Number 4, Brock Lesnar. The idea? Wrestling Shane. So at WrestleMania 33, Brock was originally scheduled to face the boss's son after dropping Shane O'Mac with an F5 after cracking Randy's skull like an egg at SummerSlam last year. However, Brock thought ill of this plan, and lest we forget, when Brock Lesnar has his giant marble heart set on something, no force or God in this world will stop that thing from happening. According to the Wrestling Observer, Brock was, quote, adamant he would not wrestle Shane, and sure enough, plans change, with Brock more than willing to work a much more high-profile feud, which would mean more headlines and more money with the returning Goldberg. Brock was more than happy to be squashed at Survivor Series if it meant winning a world title off a living legend at Mania. Well, that's better than Shane O'Dad, apparently. Number 3, The Shield. The idea? Losing to John Cena on their third pay-per-view. The Shield is one of the best examples of protective booking in the modern era. 3 stars who had brilliant chemistry together, coming into WWE as an established team and simply never losing. They looked cool, wrestled well, and used logical group psychology to keep winning even when going up against veterans. After spending 3 months on the main roster, people were waiting, just waiting, for WWE to screw it up and hand the Shield a loss to stunt their momentum. And indeed, that was the original plan, with the trio set to fall at the hands of Cena, Sheamus, and Ryback at Elimination Chamber 2013. All this to set up Cena for his big and awful rematch with The Rock. A cobbled-together team of individual stars beating a seamless unit just because Cena was on the team. It was a bad plan, and the Shield let management know. Using the numbers advantage backstage as well, the Hounds of Justice took their grievance to head office and managed to talk creative into giving them the win. Thank Christ. Number 2, Ric Flair. The idea? Spartacus. Oh, Spartacus. It's something we've mentioned a bunch of times, but here's the quick version. This is Jim Herd. Jim Herd was put in charge of NWA WCW despite not knowing anything about wrestling. Herd believed that no one wanted to see Ric Flair as a main eventer anymore and wanted him to do 3 things. 1, take a pay cut and drop to the mid-card. 2, drop the NWA heavyweight title to Lex Luger despite having promised to drop it to Sting. And 3, shave off his famous hair and change his gimmick to one called Spartacus. How does so much stupid fit into one suit? Ric Flair thought, that noise? That noise, and refused. So Jim Herd fired him a few weeks before the Great American Bash. Smart, despite Ric Flair being the champion. Smart, and also being in possession of the belt. Double smart. Flair said okay bye and went and signed with WWE a few months later. Thank you, Jim. And number 1, Ken Shamrock. The idea? Incest. Vince McMahon and his wacky old ways. What is he like? So Ken Shamrock, right? This dude, not a dude to piss off, one would think. Vince does not think that. Vince thinks about brothers and sisters kissing. So we all remember Ryan Shamrock, the lady with the boy's name who was introduced to the WWE Universe as Ken's sister. She had ups and downs in WWE, getting to have sex with Val Venus, up, getting kidnapped by the Ministry, down. What was a bit weird was the fact that Shamrock and the lady playing Ryan were actually dating in real life. Vince wanted weird art to imitate weird life and planned out an incest angle that would lead to Ken and Ryan being together on camera. Both flatly refused to participate because they have the reasonable gene that was cut out of Vince as a child. Famously, Vince would go on to pitch incest angles between Shane and Steph, and best of all, between Steph and himself. Seek help, mate. And that's our list. Did we miss any out? Tell us about it in the comments. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. I'm Adam from WhatCulture.com, and I'll see you soon.